Welcome back to another episode of Real Wealth Podcast. I've got Lyndon Zielke here. He's an advisor here with Leading Edge Financial Planning, and he's joined us today. We're going to do a little recap of Season 1 and look ahead to Season 2 just a little bit. So today's kind of a special episode just because it's more of a summary format. We'll hit on a few things. If you listen to this and we mention a podcast you don't remember, go back and check it out. There's a lot of really good material on there. I don't know when you joined in, but yeah, we are glad you found our channel. So real quick, this is Leading Edge Financial Planning sponsored podcast, Real Wealth Podcast. And what we do is we talk about how to live the best life possible at the time we have left, and also talk through the entrepreneurial journey. And we've been fortunate to have some really great guests on to start this out, and got some excellent ones booked out, a couple already recorded, and some exciting news. So welcome on, Lyndon.
Good to be here.
Thanks for joining.
It was a long trip over.
Yeah, I'm glad, you made it just fine. And
yeah, walked across the hallway. It works.
Perfect. So let's just kind of go down the list on Season 1 and talk a little bit about who came on and was so generous with their time to come and let us ask them some questions, have some conversation about life, what they've learned. So going back to last December, our first one was Dr. Ron Huntingcake at the Reardon Clinic. He talked about some really neat stuff with Lyndon. You remember that conversation? I think you were there for it.
Yeah, I was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really enjoyed just getting to know him when he was in here. Very interesting to talk with. Mm-hmm. And it was a good podcast too. As you know, it's a long time ago. It's back to last December, but as I recalled, he had some very interesting take on some things.
Yeah, they do some neat stuff with intravenous vitamin C to offset the effects of chemotherapy in cancer treatment patients. And they also do a lot of molecular level nutrition. So yeah, really interesting stuff. But one of the things we talked about was how your health really impacts your long-term wealth. Can't even enjoy it. If you can't stick around long enough to enjoy it, you're missing out.
Yeah. And I really like their approach, could really appreciate their approach. More of a holistic type approach to healthcare instead of just, in for a 15-minute checkup. And so I thought that was really an interesting way of approaching it.
Absolutely. And the number of tests they run to figure out really how your body works chemically is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we had Jeff Turner come in. For those who don't remember the name, he's the founding CEO of Spirit Aerosystems. So when Spirit spun off of Boeing, he was the one they put over it. He was CEO, I think, for about 8 years. And such a great guy, such a leader in the community, really involved with entrepreneurs. Definitely uses what Spirit brought him for the forces of good these days. Yeah, he's definitely plugged into the entrepreneur startup community here in Wichita, and his son's an entrepreneur. He's got a nice manufacturing business. And Jeff is such a neat guy. He's got great wisdom, really great teacher, and he was such a good leader for Spirit for the 8 years that he did that, and it's been through a few more CEOs after that, but he sure got it started off on the right foot, and had some neat stories to tell out of that.
Yeah, Spirit's definitely a very important part of this community. Hires a lot of people, pays a lot of taxes, probably.
Yeah,
a big part of our community.
And I'm sure if anyone's listening from Spirit, when they rolling over for retirement, they can come talk to us too.
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, Eric and David. So that's Judge Eric Melgren. He's currently the top federal judge in Kansas right now.
Okay.
Yeah. And then his friend David, they've been friends for a very long time, ever since college, and so it's neat to have them talk. I may have them back on individually to just share more about their specific, career and life experience. But to have them together was really cool.
Yeah.
Just because there's not that many people who have super deep long-term relationships.
Yeah, that was a good one. It was very interesting to hear both of their stories and the different things that they had done over the years.
And I'm great friends with both of them, and I'm really glad that they got to share that with more people. Ken Sangenario, he's the guy who taught me about the value growth advising and had some really stimulating conversation there for anyone who's into business. Dr. Lisa Stauffer, Equipoise. So she actually wound up launching her practice. So this podcast was recorded before when she was still working towards that, but now she's in to-go mode, and we may wind up doing a follow-up with
another
that.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you heard how it's going now, or?
I'm sure it's doing well.
She was really very much a go-getter, I guess you might say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's going well.
Yeah, super smart.
Yeah.
And infectious disease, oncology, and yeah, she was really neat to talk to.
Yeah.
Bill Manis starting up and doing well with HR business. Hey, you know this guy.
Yeah, I've heard of him. He's still in the same career now.
Yeah.
Fortunately, hasn't
For those
changed.
that aren't watching, it's Lyndon in front of me. He talked about his career change and what went into that and lessons he learned.
Yeah. And hopefully I could maybe inspire a few people out there to go ahead and take the leap.
Yeah. If you're not happy where you're at, maybe it's time to make a change.
Yeah.
Had Dr. Yagmai on. We talked about their search for a better healthcare model. They continue to make upgrades to their practice. I got in trouble the other day because I accidentally called the 24/7. I guess it's an emergency hotline, but you got to pay the $5 to be on it, which is fine. That's totally fair. But I got turned around and they let me know. So
right away.
Yeah. But no, they're great. They're really making strides in how to provide healthcare in a super accessible, quick way. But he had some really interesting insight on some of the struggles of the industry, of why it is where it is, from some very inside knowledge, and also inside knowledge of how COVID patients really are going and recovery and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we continue to see ups and downs on that.
Right.
David Thorne, Entrepreneur Startups and Wealth Connection. We didn't even talk about his political stuff too much, but
you probably have to have him on again too.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, we still talk.
Yeah.
But actually talk quite a bit. But David, yeah, being project manager and taking that experience into startup and fintech in the financial area. Yeah, that's a tough industry.
It is.
But they've continued to learn how to pivot and did a great job sharing some of their learning points along the way. Now, Pete Oakes, man, I can't believe he took the time to come in here.
Yeah.
Local, very successful businessman.
Right. He's worked with a lot of different things, including in the prison system here, or in Hutch anyway.
Yeah. Just an inspirational guy. In fact, he gave me his packet, and I'm trying to
called A High Impact Life, right?
Well, that's one of his books, but he's got a whole packet though, a whole package of prioritization, streamlining, how to integrate your faith and your mission, your purpose, your life, everything. And I've looked through it, and I'm going to do it, but I want to find somebody to do it alongside. So that's kind of my next thing.
Okay. It's for a group then, or like a study?
I think stuff like that's a lot better to do it alongside somebody. Yeah. I mean, you have some accountability to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if there's any takers out there that hear this and they want to dive into it with me, let me know. Miguel Johns, poor guy. We had to record his like 3 times. But we eventually got it. Because the very first time, I'd never really done a true run on the equipment, and then I think I don't remember what I had the settings all messed up because I thought a guy helped me fix it, and it wasn't really fixed, and so he's an amazing guy. I love him. He's quite the entrepreneur, helping make an impact in people caring for their diabetes better, living a healthier life. Really, really a driven man, and I think he's going to do some awesome things. I mean, he's so young or in his success already, and it's going to be incredible to see what he does. Kelly Arnold, so he's the Sedgwick County clerk and past chair for the state of Kansas for Republicans. Mm-hmm. And he had a really fun one. I think one of his most memorable things he said was, I was like, so how do you keep I was like, strikingly, as many politicians' names as I see in the news, I'm like, I don't really see yours. You're mentioning you just saw it on your tax statement.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Your taxes are going up a little on the house. But
right. The appraisal went up. We'll see if the taxes go up with it.
Well,
yeah, usually does.
Actually, out in Goddard, we waived the city level increase.
Oh.
So we actually gave our citizens a little break out there.
That'd be good. Yeah, mine went up quite a bit. The appraisal did.
It did. Yeah, they all shot up. But it was interesting because I was like, why aren't you ever in the news? He's like, it's funny if you just like do what you say you're going to do and don't try to pull shenanigans. Keep your nose clean.
Nothing newsworthy there.
Yeah, people don't care as much. Yep. So that seems to make sense. But his was fun. Jason Lansdowne.
Yeah,
he's a friend of yours,
guy.
And he's so.
They're very giving people.
Yeah,
he and his wife are just very giving.
I tried to nail him down on how many chicken sandwiches he gives away each year.
Yeah,
and I couldn't get him to answer.
He couldn't. No,
he didn't. I didn't really make it awkward, but
yeah, and a lot more than that.
I'm sure. Yeah, not just chicken sandwiches.
Right.
Yeah, they're awesome people. Loved his story. If you didn't listen to that one, you should really go listen to it.
Yeah, it's really good. Very inspiring.
Yeah. John Denny, he's a expert in exit planning, and had him on, and we subscribed to his programs here. And
right.
Long career of business brokering, and also experience in how to move business from one person to the next, or company transition out,
very
cash
important.
out, get business owners ready to actually transact a sale and move on, or move the business on, however that looks. That was a good one. Rodney Elliott, he more or less, I don't know if it was announced. It wasn't quite announced. I'm a little stuck now, because I think it was being announced around when he came on the podcast that he was moving up to the executive pastor for Pathway Church, which is, I don't know if it's the largest church in the area with all the campuses, but it might be. I mean, the Pathway Church is really big.
How many campuses do they have?
They've got Goddard, Valley Center, Westlink. Right. So maybe it is
3 then, maybe.
3. I was thinking maybe there was a 4th. I mean, there might just be the 3.
Okay.
But I think it's about the biggest church locally. Now there's Life Church, and there's some other even bigger ones that have branches here, but really
that are more nationwide. Yeah. And there's some big churches in Wichita. But.
Yeah, there are. Anywho, so he's now the executive. He was the Goddard campus pastor, but man, Rodney's so fun because he brings wisdom just down to a super practical level. That's my favorite thing about talking with him, is he's got wisdom, but it's like farm boy wisdom.
Did he grow up on a farm?
He still farms.
He still farms.
Yeah.
How do you have time to do that? You're an executive pastor. Largest church in Wichita, or one of the largest.
I guess you get a bigger tractor.
Oh, okay.
So it does it faster.
Yeah.
but that was a good one, and I really appreciated the wisdom you had to share. Eric is the wealthy trucker. He came on and shared a little bit about what he's doing. It's a neat story. Brian Looper shared about commodities when oil was shooting through the roof. That was
right. And might add, Brian Looper does work for Leading Edge. So,
yeah, Brian. Yeah, so Brian works for us as well.
Yeah.
So he's our advisor out in Pagosa Springs, and he's got his own hedging business as well. Series 3 guy.
So if you're in Pagosa Springs, drop in and say hi.
Yeah. And then there's Shardil Breathitt. He's a pastor, and he's been doing ministry work for 40 years. He has a really neat story. I mean, locally here in Wichita, he's a big leader and a big advocate for the youth and making an impact and giving back because of his background and just the vacuum of role model that he had when he was young. But he had a couple key people that really invested in him, and so he's working to give it back. But definitely a guy that I think if you could make him mad, you wouldn't want to. But he's a big dude. I mean, I think, did he say he was a defensive back or something in college?
He was big. Yeah,
he's still huge. He's like, he's in his early 60s, but I pat him on the back on the way out, and it's just like smacking a boulder. I mean, so he's still hitting the gym hard, apparently.
Yeah, hopefully he thinks it's funny.
I think so.
Otherwise,
I hope so.
You might be in trouble.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't want to be in trouble with him.
Yeah,
but he's with the Boy Scouts now, raising money for them.
Okay.
Mark Hutton founded Hutton Construction. So we got to talk about character and building a company and career, and that was neat. Now Hutton's a big company construction-wise now here in Wichita, and they do work all over the place. But that was really neat to hear from the inside out how it started and how he transitioned to his son Ben, and how that process wasn't just a overnight, hey, you're my son, here's the company. I mean, it was a very intentional process, and it was rigorous. That's what he tells us. I believe him.
Yeah.
It sounded like it was a very difficult process.
Right.
Then let's see, Samantha with Samantha Luccherini. So she has Real Producers magazine, and that focuses on the real estate market, different services that are associated with it, and
be local.
And be local as well. Yep. So she's super connected with the real estate world, and is been having a lot of success with her magazines and her publications. And so she shared about her career and a lot of the things that she's doing there. And then Audra Donnell has a women's leadership cooperative where she has classes, and it's only women. So it doesn't matter how bad you and I want to go.
We can't. Oh.
So, we can't go. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
It is all right.
That is all right. So, but yeah, she has the thread, impressive young lady. And she shared about her, actually that one, we got kind of deep on Enneagram stuff, which is a fun topic for me. We did a lot of that training. Actually, we did some training in here internally, just amongst ourselves. But I love talking about the Enneagram and as it relates to personal growth and business and culture and communication, interaction. And so we kind of had some sidebar on that. But that was a neat one because where I think the Enneagram is most powerful is you've got a path of growth that you can work towards and follow, and also have some benchmarking along with it of how you're doing personally. And you may have, several buckets that you need to pay attention to, or several segments you need to pay attention to. But it was really interesting to hear how her self-awareness grew through that process, and she's able to really do a lot of work and growth as a person through that knowledge, and that was a fun one. And that's the 20 episodes we've got up
20
there.
20 episodes. Amazing.
Yeah. So we'll be. I've already got a couple recorded. I got a couple or a few recorded next week, and so we'll start putting them out again once a week here for. I don't know if we'll go another stretch of 20 and then take a break again, but it is a bit of work to line up the guests and convince them it's worthwhile coming on, or maybe they're just nice enough to share their time.
So when will the next season start then? When will you start releasing them?
Oh, the next one will be out next week.
Oh, okay.
Because big news is one of our guests is going to be featured on Good Morning America.
Oh, wow.
And on Labor Day. And so that was big news on that podcast. And so we're going to put that out coinciding pretty much with that.
Right.
So really,
which
we've
is
got
pretty soon.
Yeah. So that'll be coming out in the next week or two.
All right, good.
Yeah, Lacey Leatherman with Zip Sips. That was a fun interview.
Oh yeah. I think I met her.
Yeah. So exciting things coming. We've got John Rolfe with Thrive Industries. So that's Carlosa Kelly's and some Applebee's and some other things like Homegrown.
All right.
I mean, he's a huge leader here in the Wichita space. And got Richard Coe. He's an advisor. He's retired. He did a business like ours, a registered investment advisor practice, and retired right before COVID, which is really good timing on his part.
Yeah.
He didn't have to go through all the headaches. And I'm sure that helped things out. But he's been a good friend for quite some time, and definitely a respected person and respected man in our industry here in Wichita. So I'm excited for the guests we have coming up, and I hope to keep the quality high. I'm sure that we will.
I've enjoyed just meeting some of the guests when they've come in here, when I've been able to, and people I wouldn't normally meet otherwise. So that's been good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I'm excited, and I do appreciate all of our followers and all of those that are taking interest in it. We put it out to, just like we say, it's not complicated, but we really do want to help people think through, expose them to new ideas on how they can live the best life possible. Hopefully there's some inspiring stories and learning lessons here, introspection triggered, things you can work on, things you realize that, you know what, maybe we do need to think about it a different way, expose you to new resources. Oh, I know another one I'm excited about, breath work. So I got Brooke coming on.
Brooke, okay. Yeah, something we did.
We did? How? Yeah. With share as little as you want, or as much as you want.
Well,
but the problem with trying to describe it,
it does,
is people think you're crazy when you describe it.
Strange.
Yeah.
But it's a process that puts you in a different state of mind, and it does it in a legal way. So I don't know. Do I need to say any more?
Yeah, it activates the theta waves in your brain.
Okay. Yeah. So you're talking some of the technical details of it,
right?
So I don't know if I remember the.
It's super cool.
Side.
Basically, more or less you hyperventilate for like 45 minutes or an hour. But what it does internally in your body is stuff you probably wouldn't even expect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, really amazing stuff.
And it goes by incredibly fast.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be like if you took a nap, you wouldn't think an hour went by when it did. And that's kind of how it is with this, but you're awake.
But what was really funny is you guys trying to like get mobile again.
Yeah.
Because you
kind of freeze up.
Yeah. If you do it right, you really can become physically immobilized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was very, very interesting.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that one because she's going to come on and talk about the science behind it and what's going on.
Yeah, I would like to hear that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, to hear what she says about the science side of it and exactly what was going on.
Yeah. That's a wild one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited to have her on, and yeah, plenty of other guests to come, and we'll keep featuring entrepreneurs, local or further out. But again, thank you for all of you that are subscribing, and if I could ask one favor, it'd be to share it around. Pass it on to a friend, pay it forward. We do this to try to add value and provide insight and inspiration. Very good. Well, thanks, Lyndon, for taking a few minutes out to be a chatter here, be able to bounce stuff off.
Sure.
Well, good. That'll do it for a shorter episode with Real Wealth Podcast, sponsored by Leading Edge Financial Planning. Here at Leading Edge Financial Planning, we're here to help you make wise financial decisions with your money. So, and in life. But mostly as it pertains to your money, right?
We like to help the life part too.
Yeah. So it's if a life coach and a financial planner mashed together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thanks for listening, and join us for season 2.